name's Willie Watson, and I went to Oswin Avenue School. I was born at Hamilton Lodge, 1949, but then I would think probably 1950 we lived in Exton to start with my grandma and granddad, and then moved to Sheridan Avenue in Bowlby, where I spent all the rest of my childhood. But I went to Woodfield School to start with, which I got very, very happy memories from, playing football and that in the schoolyard, and then obviously went to the big school later on. Got split up with my neighbour who was my best friend, funny enough, because he was a bright boy, a lad called Philip Winterman. he went to the grammar school and I went to Oswin. Talking about where I lived, and it was in between the two houses were absolutely fantastic, because we had an alleyway there which was just like a cricket pitch. So we've played football, cricket, marbles, we've done everything there. You know, I think I could talk about it for ages. It was a fantastic place to grow up as a young kid. You got everything there. You know, we could even play outside on the front, because there's only one car in our street, and he voted Conservative, by the way. And it was a fabulous place. So it was to play football on the streets with the lights on. You thought you were at Wembley. All those kids, you know, we would be Johnny Haynes and different people. It was great times. Going to from Woodfield, it was a little bit scary, I think, going to the big school when you're 10, 11. You know, you see all these monsters that are nearly 6 foot big, and I'm still in my short trousers, I think, when I went. It was a funny time for me, because I'd just lost my mum. And my first couple of weeks at the big school was a little bit scary. But then once I got to know a few people, and it was fantastic, you know. And I think sport does help you as well. You know, to get in the school football team, cricket team, or whatever turns you on. It was just absolutely fantastic. And then things started to repair in my mind, I think. So from then on, strength to strength, really. Paddy Doran, well, he was, he always reminded me of what you see like a tracksuit manager now. You know, you'd get one lad who would have a suit on, but then you get the other manager, he'd always have well, obviously being a sports teacher, Paddy Doran, sorry. And he was, he had a big influence on my career of how to react and how to behave yourself, and so I think he put me on the straight and narrow, if I'm honest. Nice chap. Yeah, after love my sport at my school, football took preference, obviously, and from playing for the school team, I got selected to play for Doncaster Boys, and we obviously meet other lads from other schools, and the standard gets a little bit higher every time you move up. But for me, I was only a little lad, and you come across these big monsters. But there's a way around it, and if you're good enough, you'll get there. And it made me, I think, that did it, going and play for Doncaster Boys and meeting other players. And then eventually, Doncaster Rovers had a look at me at a certain age, and was asked to go down for trials, and was lucky. I mean, I was only 14, and when I left school, I had to wait a month before I could start work, because you obviously couldn't start work till you were 15. And I'd actually got a job as an electrician, but that got poo-pooed straight away, you know, because all I really wanted to dream was to just play football, and that was it, really. So everything else is history, really.
Yeah.
Bill Leivers was, I think, I was Bill's first ever signing. Who, funny enough, was in the paper last week, Bill, for being the last man standing at Man City. And won the cup, I think it was 56, I think. And Bill played in that. Anyway, came to Doncaster as a player manager, and he was obviously looking at all these young kids. And anyway, I played for 20 minutes and he took me off. you know, and I thought, oh, well, I've blown it. You know, I'm not going to get selected. I'm nearly in tears. And he came across to me dad, Bill, and he said, don't worry, he's already been signed on, he's coming. So, but I didn't know at the time, and I thought I weren't good enough for him. But yeah, that was a big moment in my life, I think, to be told I'm going to be signed on by Doncaster Rovers, that was my dream at the time. I thought Doncaster Rovers were Man United, I did. Oh, I'd gone and watched Rovers since I was about 8 or 9, I think, you know, with my father to start with, and then obviously you get a bit older and you can go with your friends and watch them. And I always remember once going fishing, and I used to watch Rovers every week. I never caught anything at fishing, but Rovers beat Darlington 10-0. And that was a bit special, that was. My big hero, and a lot of people's heroes at Doncaster, was a footballer called Alec Jeffries, who was an absolute legend in the town. And I got my debut for Doncaster Rovers through Alec Jeffries, through not a very nice situation actually. He'd been involved in a car crash with John Nicholson, who was the club captain at the time, and John lost his life through that. And me and Stuart Robertson, 2 kids, we basically had to play because you know, they ain't got that many players at Doncaster at the time. And that's how it all started from, really. I was only just 17, and you're thrown in with the big boys, you know, but you soon learn. Well, my first game I played was against Swindon Town, funny enough, in the league, and we went there, and we're not having the best of times, but anyway, lucky enough we won 1-0. And me and this other lad who had made his debuts. And then my next game for Doncaster Rovers 4 days later was at Bellevue in the League Cup, and we drew 1-1, but I was fortunate to score at the Rosso end after 4 minutes. I thought, oh, I think I set off running and nobody could catch me. The celebration, and I finished up nearly in town, I think. Yeah, so my career really then moved, if I go on about 40, got 50 games perhaps later, 2 seasons later, I was told to come in my tie, get yourself dressed up because you're going to meet a manager from another club. And that's how it was in them days. Anyway, finished up, it was Rotherham United, which you couldn't get much more local, so I could still live at home if it come on. And went through, and Tommy Docherty was the manager. And it was the second division, which was a jump, you know, which was and Millmore played there, and for, I think, I don't know, 11 months I think I had at Rotherham. Met some absolutely fabulous lads there, but I weren't really a regular in the team at Rotherham. Played against some big clubs there, bigger than I'd been used to. And yes, it was not like the boys now, what type of car you've got. It was a number 77 bus, and I'd walk up, and it was like walking to my old school, where Oswin Avenue was. That's where I used to catch the bus to Rotherham, which was the Sheffield bus. And that'd be a good 40 minutes away, I would think. And then a bit flash coming back, I'd probably get the train back, you know, from Rotherham, because the station was outside Millmore at the time. But good days, really, really good days, you know. Wouldn't swap them for the world, really. I would have probably liked to play it a little bit more regular when I was at Rotherham, but that weren't to be. It's just one of them things. But when the chance came to come back to Doncaster, when I did, Lawrie McMenemy was in for me to come back. Well, I jumped at the chance. I just thought, well, I'm going on, and you know, it was just fantastic from then on, really. Good side, real good side. And I finished up playing with the 3 lads that I'd gone to Rotherham for. So you got the 4 lads playing in the side, and yeah, we were a good side. Doncaster was a good side, and I thought we would have gone on to do a lot better than what we did, if I'm honest. I thought we could definitely. I remember playing there, and Luton came up there, and Malcolm McDonald would play for Luton at the time, centre forward. He hadn't gone to Newcastle, and he got 20,000 at Donny. I mean, fantastic, you know. Old Bellevue, when that used to rock, you know, when you got 20,000 in there, it's a great atmosphere. And we finished that season all right, but then things turn again in football. It's a strange life, football is. Yeah. I think the manager, obviously Lawrie McMenemy, he must have fancied me a little bit to come in and to bring me back, and the team was going well in the old 4th division, and I came back, and I think I came back for about the last 20 odd games in that season. I think I finished with 8 or 9 goals, which for me was nearly a goal in 2 is well, that's like a forward this day and age. We had a fantastic team, and everything was buzzing, and then the next season we had a good start in the 3rd division, and I finished up I did my cartilage at Lake Norrin, which was diagnosed as housemaid's knee at the time, and basically I never played again for 12 months, which this day and age, you just go in and they sort you out in 2 minutes, but then it was you're not going to get the looked after like you would now, it would just wait your turn in them days, really. But and then just as about to make me come back, and I broke my arm, so that put me back for another 3 months, so just the way it goes, I suppose. I started off playing up front, a so-called striker, but I was more of a midfield player, I think. I'm more of a person that would make the goals rather than score them, and plus I weren't the quickest in the world, so sometimes to be a striker you've got to be a little bit sharp, and as you get a little bit older you perhaps drop back that little bit more, and I finished up for the next few years of my career I'll be playing in midfield, which I did enjoy, I really did enjoy. But I've in my career I think I've played everywhere. I've actually played in goal in a Football League game when our goalkeeper got injured, and it weren't very happy ending because we got beat 5. I only let 4 in though. 72, no, it was for Maurice Setters, who was the manager at Doncaster, who he ex-Man United as well, funny enough. And Bill Leivers, who was the man who first signed me when I was at Doncaster, is now manager of Cambridge United. And he'd come in for me, and I thought, well, my career was at a standstill at Doncaster and things weren't really happening, and I thought, well, I have a chance of, we build my old manager, and down I went, and lucky enough we got promotion again, so that was quite good really, because I think if you wanted promotion you signed with me, or if you wanted relegation you could sign me, because I've had a few of them. But sad to leave Donny, but it's just the way it goes, Well, after Cambridge, we got promotion in 72, 73, and then the following season, through injuries and different things, we got relegated. Bill loses his job, which is a fact in football. And then Mr. Bojangles comes in, Mr. Ron Atkinson comes and joins the club, and he was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, the place took off because it's only a little club, it's Cambridge, not on the size of Doncaster. If Doncaster had done as well as Cambridge had done, well, I don't know. You had really good crowds, and we actually then moved from the 4th to the 3rd, and we got into the 2nd. And I honestly thought if Ron had stayed, we'd have actually got into the 1st division, as in Premiership now. But West Brom came in, and obviously he moved on. But Cambridge had good years. I think 3 or 4 good years in the second division when John Docherty took over from him. So they were good times at Cambridge, really good times. And then I become of a certain age when you're getting to pass your sell-by date, and Lincoln City came in. Willie Bell was the manager, ex-89, and I thought, well, this could be a good move for me, getting back near Doncaster, Lincoln, not far away. So off I went, but I did miss Cambridge because I'd helped them get in the second division, and I would have liked to have just had a couple of seasons with them, but it weren't to be. But then they did come back in for me 12 months later, and I went back, and I was more sub, and I weren't playing regular, but it was good days, because when you Newcastle and Chelsea's are in the second division in them days, Sheffield Wednesdays and some big clubs. Well, Man City were in the second division as well. So it was always a good atmosphere there. And then from then on, really, I took the kids at Cambridge. We looked after a youth hostel, me and my wife, and I ran a vice president's club, which was under the main stand, and it saw my career out, really. And then I moved into the licensing trade, like most footballers did in those days, because our education weren't the greatest. And we were in the pub game for, I think, about 15 years, I would think. I'd like to go and still watch some football when I can. I mean, now I move back to Donny, I'll get back and start watching them regular. See a few of my old friends when I get up there. And when we pop down to Cambridge to see my kids, I'll pop and watch them as well, you know. So, yeah, well, you get a team in your heart, and Donny will always be my team. So that's the first result you look for, you know.